Hello all of you beautiful people, Jules here for WhatCulture.com, and we all love a bit of challenge when it comes to video games, right? That being said, there's nothing worse than when you feel like you're bashing your head against a wall when it comes to some levels that seem to just both have your life and your dignity all at once. Now 2021 has already been a hard year, there's no doubt about that, so why the hell is the game industry so insistent on giving us a kicking when we're already down with some truly difficult levels? So let's take a look at them. As I'm Jules, this is WhatCulture.com, and these are the 8 hardest video game levels of 2021 so far. Number 8. Overcooked, All You Can Eat, the Peckish Rises levels. Now, if you've ever wanted to test the strength of your relationship, not something that I would recommend after going through a rather intense lockdown period, then the Overcooked series is most definitely for you, as this will either forge a sense of trust in the hardest steel known to man, or leave you shattered like fine china come the end of one of its many, many stressful levels. And if the decision as to which friendship ruiner to start with is overwhelming you, then look no further than the recently released Overcooked All You Can Eat, which is a compilation of both the first and second games, all of their respective DLC, and some brand new kitchens titled The Peckish Rises. Now, these 7 kitchens might not be as intense as some of the later levels in either main game, but trust me, these fresh hells are enough to roast you to a crisp if you don't have the correct teamwork and communication skills. Having to fire chefs using cannons to certain sections while dodging water and fire hazards on top of cooking complex dishes is not for the faint-hearted, and will likely leave you with a rather salty taste in your mouth after repeated defeats. Number 7. Ghosts and Goblins Resurrection Shadow Graveyard. When it comes to difficult pixel-perfect platforming experiences, Ghosts and Goblins Resurrection does not mess around. From the very moment that you begin this beautiful-looking title, you'll be bashed so hard over the head that it will leave a bloody dent in your brand new armor. And if you thought that things would get easier once you've beaten the game and unlocked all the new skills and spells the title has to offer, well, you'd be wrong. Dead wrong. For now, you've unlocked the hellscape known as the Shadow levels, which are pretty aptly named, as those once familiar stages are now devoid of light, and you must use candles to illuminate the way ahead. Making matters worse is that the enemies have been remixed and some can only be seen when there isn't any light, making for a balancing act where the rope is made of bloody razor wire. The opening stage, Shadow Graveyard, is like a boot to the face and a kick to the pride, as even if you've mastered this before, the endless zombies, bats, and bloody log that keeps moving away from me as I try to jump on it are enough to make you feel like a big boo-hoo baby. Number 6. Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade Fort Condor on hard mode. While your heart may have taken flight and begun to soar high above the clouds upon finding out that the almighty Fort Condor minigame was going to be returning in Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade, you might want to make sure that you never play this section on hard mode, because otherwise you and the ground will be firm friends pretty bloody quickly, as this challenge will utterly stomp you. In this mode, you'll be presented with 7 levels of increasingly difficult opponents, each of which will display an individual playstyle. Now, while you might breeze through the first 2 or 3 sections without too much issue, come the latter portions you'll be praying to RNGesus to help you out, as these can swing wildly in your favor and then out of it again at a moment's notice. Wedge seems to be universally the biggest roadblock to players here, offering up a relentlessly brutal assault of high-powered enemies and defenses, and it'll take you a huge amount of patience, planning, and a bit of luck to get past him to victory. What makes this mode even more difficult is that unlike the regular mode, you need to destroy the enemy HQ within the time limit in order to win. I hope you like seeing your battles end with just a few seconds to spare, as on this mode, you'll be seeing that a lot. Number 5. Crash Bandicoot 4 It's About Time Toxic Tunnel's Insanely Perfect Relic Run. When Toys for Bob were given the reins to make a brand new Crash Bandicoot game, they must have looked over this project and begun maniacally laughing as finally, they had been given the power to make gamers rage into the wee hours of the morning and beyond. The core experience of Crash 4 is a delight to play through, mixing in just enough challenging platforming to push players without it ever feeling like it's overextending them. And as such, if you speak to many players who've beaten the main game, they'll commend the title in nearly every area. However, if you speak to the absolute mad heads who attempted to get all of the gems, flashback tapes, and relics, well, you might get a different story. Now, recently, all-around Big Ledge Kadikarus detailed his experience trying to get the insanely perfect relic run on toxic tunnels, a process which might have actually cost him the use of his hands, as they were in fact ground to dust. And you know what? You can see why, as this level is not only mightily challenging to begin with, but now becomes an utter nightmare when you add in the fact that you have to break every box, collect 80% of the Wumpa fruit, and reach the end without dying once. To add salt to the, the level also also contains an absolutely brutal coloured gem run which is far longer and harder than any other section of its type in the game, and also contains almost invisible boxes, meaning that you need to be keeping an eye out if you want to break all the boxes on this dastardly level. Number 4. Bullets per minute. Asgard Crypts on Hellish mode. If you've ever wondered what would happen if somebody crossed Doom with a rhythm action experience, then BPM, or bullets per minute, is most definitely for you, as the infectious soundtrack and adrenaline rush style gameplay makes for a title quite unlike anything else on the market. Plus, it has a shopkeeper who is like a giant angel chocobo and his dances fill my heart with light. Saying that though, utter darkness is the order of the day for anyone venturing down into the Asgard Crypts, which were added into the game thanks to the Overdrive update in February of this year. And should you try to master this section on the also introduced Hellish difficulty, then you might never make it out of the basement alive. This new mode adds in more enemies and with much higher health pools, and with the crypt's claustrophobic level design will mean that you have little room to avoid the barrage of attacks coming your way. Things get even crazier when you consider that this new level only randomly shows up on the first or second stages, meaning that you'll not have a decent loadout and barely any powers to use. It's like a self-imposed hard mode on an already unforgiving hard mode. Number 3. Fall Guys, the Slime Scraper. If ever there is a moment that fills my very soul with dread, it's when I see that Fall Guys has gotten a new update, because this f***ing game is quite possibly the reason that I'll never be able to relax again until I'm absolutely stone cold dead, as the sheer panic of having my tail stolen at the last minute or just being a fingertip away from grabbing a crown is enough to cause cardiac arrest. And the devs are clearly not slowing down when it comes to creating Takeshi's Castle-style torture devices, as the Slime Scraper well proves. This new level/stage was unveiled as part of the mid-season 4 update that dropped earlier this year and immediately turned heads because it seemed to be a course constructed of every single devious device and hazard from a ton of other stages. Pinball flippers, treadmills, boxing gloves, laser swings, propeller fans, and so much more all exist to make your life a living nightmare. And when you couple this with the anarchy that is trying to do any of these activities while being pushed, prodded, and poked, you're looking at a level that might send you to the goddamn grave. Number 2. Returnal, the third biome/derelict citadel. Returnal is hard. I feel like that sentence, as succinct as it is a massive understatement. It is a title that fuses liquid smooth gunplay and action elements with a crushing but ultimately fair difficulty to make an experience that is both rewarding and wall-punching in equal measure. The sheer drop in your stomach upon being kicked all the way back to the beginning upon a death is enough to make you feel like you're haunting your own bones, but the addictive gameplay will pull you right back in for another dose of hell. While the first 2 biomes basically act as an introduction to the core mechanics of the game and slide up the difficulty scale enough to push you pretty hard from the off, it's the third biome, which is also known as the Derelict Citadel, that becomes less of a challenging curve and more of a difficulty spike that can and will impale you. And it's all down to the sheer amount of annoying robots in this area. These little bastards can rinse your health with rockets and lasers before then flitting off and out of sight, causing enough of a distraction that you won't see the suicide robots that are now charging towards you. Many a run has ended in these ruins, and the name of the area certainly rings true, as this level can totally make you feel as if God himself has abandoned you. And number 1, The Binding of Isaac, Repentance, Corpse. Wow, this level, Jesus Christ. Very rarely do video games leave me in a catatonic state, but after watching players reach and then attempt to beat the new Corpse level, which was added into the monolithically challenging The Binding of Isaac Repentance, I genuinely cannot believe that anyone is able to make it through this gauntlet in one piece. In a move that at this point seems just plain sadistic, the decision was made to make this new expansion for Isaac even harder. And to even unlock this stage is enough to make most adults weep silently. After progressing through the harder modes of each stage and collecting knife pieces, players will finally be able to unlock the Corpse, an even harder variant of the Womb. And it's here that you'll wish that you never bothered at all, as the challenge here is so great that you will easily die within the opening sections unless you are bloody well prepared. Enemies are relentless, seemingly never ending, and come the close of this section you'll have to face a new super-powered variant of Mother. All of this combined to make it one of the most challenging experiences not just of 2021, but quite possibly in all of video game history. Good luck, my friend. And there we go, those were the 8 hardest video game levels of 2021 so far. I hope you enjoyed that, and please let me know what you thought about it down in the comments section below. As always, I've been Jules. You can go follow me over on Twitter at RetroJ with a 0, or you can swing by Live and Let's Dice, that's Dice with a C, over on YouTube, where I do all of my streaming outside of work, and it'd be great to see you over there, my friends. But before I go, I just want to say one thing. I hope that you're treating yourself well, both mentally and physically. Treat yourself with love and respect, because you goddamn well deserve that, and do not let anything or anyone else tell you otherwise, alright? You're a massive ledge, now go out there and smash it. As always, I've been Jules, you have been awesome. Never forget that, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.